Hello, hi, welcome to another class with Verbling. This is part 2 when I'm continuing with my series about public speaking and presentations, okay? We have one document that we're going to go through that is going to be like a high level, just an overview, and then another one that's going to go into more detail on the different things that you need to understand when it comes to doing presentations, okay? Right? Looks like we have somebody already joining us here. Hello, Igor. Hello, hey, So. Hey.
Hi. How are you?
Hey, doing very well. Doing very well. Good. So, good to see you all in class. Let me change my microphone a little better. So, yeah, been a long time, So. Have you been you've been busy?
Yeah, I've been busy with work.
Yeah, okay, well, good. Good, make that money, right? You got to make some money, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have any money, you're not going to be able to eat. So it's kind of a thing that you
job.
need. Yep, need a job. Hey, Igor, what's going on today?
It's all okay.
It's all good.
Yes, all good.
It's all you can say. It's all good.
Yes,
all good.
like
so
every
good.
day.
Yep, like every day, you know. Yeah, I was going through some troubled times in my late 20s, and I remember my buddy telling me, he said, "Hey, the sun will come up tomorrow." That's what he used to always say. And you start to realize, you know what? It was just a simple statement, but he's right. It's going to come up tomorrow, whether you want to or not. It's all about your attitude. I'll tell you that that changed my life. So you have a good attitude, Igor. It's a good attitude. So very good.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Daniel, what's going on?
Hi, good morning from Spain. It's good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
Hola, mi amigo. ¿Cómo está?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Bien. Gracias. So anyway, so good, Daniel. Good. Welcome. Is that your bathroom robe? Boy, you did just wake up, huh?
yeah.
No problem. Sometimes people come to class without shirts on, which is kind of crazy, you know. And unfortunately, it's only the males, but yeah, okay. I was just noticing. So good. Where are you at in Spain? Are you someplace warm right now?
I'm from the south of Spain, from Cali. Yeah, close to Africa, to the north of Africa. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Between
So
the two oceans, Mediterranean Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. Sea,
Yep.
Mediterranean Sea and Atlantic Ocean.
Yep. Good. Yeah, I never made it down to Spain. I made it to France a few times. I used to go to Cannes, and that's beautiful. You know, I like that whole area right along there. Just so nice. It's a nice dry climate. You know, very mild. It reminds me of Southern California. You know,
Yeah,
good
it's warm.
Yeah.
It's really warm.
Yeah, the weathermen there, you know, the weatherman, the people that predict the weather, they have like the easiest job. It's going to be sunshiny, about 85.
I agree. Not in these days because it's raining a lot and it's too windy, but it's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Yep. Good. Okay, let me move on here and welcome to class. Hello, Shocky. Is that right? Shocky? Am I pronouncing it right? Hello, Shocky. Hi. Oh, Shocky, come on. I know you can say hello. You even have one of my favorite movies as your little logo there. So good. So let me show you all something, and maybe this is the problem that's happening here, Shocky. So make sure, okay. Yeah, so you might have a problem here. Let me show you. So there's a red microphone, or there's a microphone here. So this might be muted. I'll mute Igor real quick. So this might be red. If it's red, you need to click it so that you can talk, okay, Shocky? Hello, Servet.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm perfect. Excellent. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. Yeah, good to see you too. Yeah, and So joined us today. She had some time. She's been real busy lately. She had some time today, which is good. Okay, and here comes Nang. He's been in 2 of my classes. Never says anything. So let's see what's going on. I don't know if he's just shy or what. You know, some people are just shy. Hello, Nang. Yep. And hey, Daniel. Make sure, if you're typing or moving stuff around, try to hit your mute just so there's no sound. Okay, it's all right.
It's over. It's over. Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem. I just figured, and nobody knows about it until I inform them, so no problem. Just sometimes when you move stuff, it'll make a little bit of noise.
Okay.
Hello, Nang. Okay, Nang. Hey, Nang. Just to let you know, though, Nang, I'll wait. But I'm just letting you know that you've been in 2 of my classes, and in both classes, all you did is just hang out, never talked on the microphone, had us keep calling you, and everything else. And I'm sorry, but that's not how class works, and we don't have time for things like that. It's just not fair to everybody else. Yeah. So Nang.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so yeah, Nang, don't do that to me, though, okay? All right, don't come to class without a microphone, and then keep coming in and out. All right, it's not fair to anybody in class, okay?
Okay.
I don't know what else to tell you. It's just I mean, I understand you're learning English, so there's things about learning English that you need to comprehend and learn. I get that, but natural instinct of knowing, hey, I'm taking up other people's time, I'm wasting people's time, I'm frustrating people. You don't have to understand English to know that, okay? All right, you're smarter than that, okay? All right. So Hazem, hello Hazem. Hello Hazem. Okay. All right, so we'll get class started in a few minutes. So those of you that are watching on the outside, feel free to go ahead and come on into class. Okay, you can join into class. Okay, and yeah, Hazem, make sure that you're in the other chat. Okay, so you have a problem right now. Okay, and what's the problem? Okay, all right. And just remember to Hazem to stay in the regular chat, in the Verbling chat. Okay, and Johnny's coming in here. Hey, Johnny. Okay. Hey Johnny, you might have your microphone muted. If you look up here, okay, you'll see this here. If this is, you need to click it so you can talk. And by the way, everybody else, I'm just going to mute you real quick, and then I'll explain why. Okay. All right. So yeah, I think everybody's muted now. So do you hear a difference now? You hear how easy it is to hear everything. Okay. Sometimes even when you're not muted, there's a little bit of sound that'll come from some people if they don't have the proper setup on their computer, like a little white noise. So just just whenever you're ready, you just click this back and forth. Okay. Even now, there's a little bit of noise. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, Red.
Hey, how are you, Johnny?
I'm fine. I'm sorry, but I have problem with the microphone. The page was loading.
Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. That's why I figured I'd show you as well, just where the mute on the microphone is. Not a problem. Not a problem. And those of you that are in this chat, you're welcome. You're welcome. Those of you in this chat, come on over to here. Just click on this. Okay, sometimes it doesn't load, but usually it does, because with your chat, you'll actually want to go ahead and be in this one. This is the one where everybody's at, where we discuss things in class, and you just click on this. Okay, so good. So let's get class started. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll work here. There's 2 documents. For some reason, earlier in the day, I don't know why, the document that was listed was not the correct one. Okay, so we're going to start here with the basic overview. That's the first document, and then we're going to dive into a more detailed view in this one here. Okay, Let's just make sure again. Let's just keep everything muted unless you're speaking, okay? And we'll do a lot of reading today as well. Okay. There's still a little bit of white noise coming from somebody. Okay. And yeah, you hear that, Daniel? That just improved a little bit more because there's just and it's okay, Daniel, but there's a little bit of white noise that comes from you, okay? So here we go. So public speaking in English. All right, so this is part 2 in our series, guys, okay? So we're going to do a lot of reading. We're eventually going to get to presentations where we're building our own presentations and then giving them to the class. So for right now, we're just going to be doing some reading and discussing, you know, these various concepts, okay? All right. Hello, Manal. I see you got your name changed now, Manal. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, it sounds like maybe there's a few problems, Manal. Yeah, I think there's a... Yeah, it sounds like... Yeah, Manal, for now, just try to figure out there sounds like a few problems with your microphone, okay? All right. So, hey, Daniel, do me a favor, please, and let me see if I can make this bigger without it running off the screen. Okay. Nope, I can't. All right. So this is as big as I can make it. Can you do me a favor, Daniel? Can you start to read this for us? You know, just start here at the top, public speaking, and then go all the way down. Go all the way down to here. Okay. Go ahead, please.
Okay. So public speaking in English, presentations. Joseph Exagram. People speak in public for many reasons. One of the most common forms of public speaking is the presentation. In a presentation, you must present or introduce something, a product, an idea, financial results, a project, etc., to your audience. You give a presentation because you want to communicate something. Generally, you want to do one of 4 things. You want to inform, to train, to persuade, to sell. A presentation is one of the best ways of communicating your message. And because English is so widely used in international business, a knowledge of the vocabulary and techniques used in an English language presentation is very useful. This article will give you 7 of the most important areas to consider when giving any presentation. Preparation.
Okay, good. No, it's okay. Let's just stop there. And thank you. Very well read. So, okay, can anybody think of other reasons why you would give a presentation here? Anything else? No? Okay.
Where's the question?
What's that?
Can you repeat again? Can you repeat the question again?
Yes.
Please?
Are there any other reasons why you would give a presentation besides these 4 things here? To inform, to give information, to train, to persuade, and to sell.
What is persuade? To persuade?
Yeah, so let's say that I like chocolate ice cream and you don't, and I try to persuade you into liking chocolate ice cream as well. I try to persuade you into doing something or thinking like me.
Okay, I understand.
Yep. Do you like chocolate ice cream?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, luckily I don't have to persuade you. So okay, so good. So yeah, these are the 4 main things. There wouldn't be anything else. And sometimes you're doing 2 or 3 of these things all at once. Okay. So sometimes you're trying to do more than one thing when you're giving a presentation. Okay. All right.
Maybe when you want to motivate someone.
Motivation.
People. Motivation. Yes.
Yep.
Maybe you have to prepare a presentation for that. No?
Yeah, motivate, persuade can also kind of fall in that, but motivation's on kind of like a higher level. You use persuasion in order to motivate. So good, yep, okay. Motivation.
Hello?
Very good. Yep. Hello, Manel.
I think it's to convince, to persuade, yeah?
Yep, yep. You want to convince them. So I wanted to convince Igor of the fact that chocolate ice cream is good, but little did I know he already likes chocolate ice cream. So yep, to convince. Do you like chocolate ice cream?
Yeah. So
Okay,
much.
all right. I don't have to persuade anybody today. Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay. So good. Let's continue on here. Hazem, have you resolved the issue with your microphone? I'll take that as a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear
Oh,
me?
you have? Hey. Yeah,
How
we
are
can.
you? Yeah.
Hey, I can hear you. I'm doing very well, thank you. Can you start to read through this? Can you start with preparation?
Yes. Prepare. Good preparation essential for any presentation with a good preparation and planning. You will be fully confident. Your audience will feel your confidence, and so your audience will be confident in you. This will give you control. With control, you will be in charge, and your audience will listen positively to your message.
Okay, good. So let's stop there. So yeah, prepare. So this is very important when it comes to presentations. The reason why, and just listen to this concept, okay? You want to make sure that by the time that you give your presentation, that you can almost do it in your sleep, as they say. I don't know if you've heard of that expression, do it in your sleep. What that means is you just have it fully memorized. You know exactly what to say, exactly what to do, especially if you're giving a presentation where you have to take questions, because you at least want to have your base or your foundation of that presentation to where you know all of those, to where you know that verbatim, to where again you can do it in your sleep, okay? You know, you just can repeat it. Also, too, if you are doing a presentation where you're going to be taking questions, one thing that you have to prepare for is you have to think of the questions that the audience is going to ask you, so that you have those available. I don't think that it's actually included in this series that much, but I'll discuss that as well. I used to give a fair amount of presentations. I used to give technical presentations, and in doing so, obviously, I'd have an audience that would ask me questions. And I learned the hard way, right, that you have to be prepared. Especially technical people are usually highly intelligent. They sometimes seems like they want to have you not answer properly. But anyway, so good. Yes.
When you say do it in your sleep, you mean night and day, just 24/7, studying a lot.
So there's a expression, do it in your sleep. That means you could be, basically sleeping and giving your presentation. You know it so well, all right? And again, this just goes down to just preparing. I can't stress enough. Memorizing
what you're going to say.
Yep. And we'll look at how you do that as well. You do it at a high level, making sure that you're going to follow this point, then this one, and this one, and then you get into the sub points, and you just continue to go through that. Okay. So let's see. So Igor, can you talk about number 2, please? And by the way, any questions on number 1? Are there any words you're not comfortable with?
No.
Nope. Okay. Good. And Igor, number 2, please.
Yes. Structure. A good presentation has a clear structure. I correct pronounce structure?
Structure. Yep. Structure.
Structure. Like a good book or film. A good presentation has a beginning, introduction and preview, a middle, a main message, and end, review and conclusion.
Okay, so good. And with these presentations, they're typically similar to like a 5-page essay. I don't know if you all know a 5-page essay, right? Where you start out, the 5-page essay is going to have your introduction and thesis, okay? So that's your first part. as soon as my fingers decide to type today, okay? So your introduction and thesis, that gives your main point, okay? And it also, too, in that introduction paragraph, that's when you talk about your body paragraphs, just a summary of those, okay? And then you get into your body paragraphs, okay? And that's what supports your message, okay? So think about that as being like the middle, because you're going to be continuing to support that. And then the end, that's where you do the review, okay? So that's just like your last paragraph, your conclusion paragraph. So those of you that have been studying like how to do essays and so forth, just really think about that same type of format when it comes to giving a talk. All right? You introduce the idea, make sure that the people understand the main message or messages that might be part of it. Then you go through in the middle, in the where you're delivering the message, and that's where you prove the points. And then you go to the conclusion where you wrap things up and summarize what you've just said. Okay? Everybody good?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. All right. Johnny.
Here.
Okay, good. So Johnny, can you read on number 3, please? Equipment.
Okay. Equipment. You may have any of the following pieces of equipment at your disposal: whiteboard, flip chart, overhead projector, 35 slide projector, computer graphics. Each of these has advantage and disadvantage. The important thing is to be the master of your equipment, not the slave. You should know and understand your equipment perfectly.
Okay. So keep this in mind, okay? All right. So again, I was fortunate enough, I used to give a lot of presentations. And some people would say, "Oh yeah, well just bring the presentation on a USB stick, bring the PowerPoint and we'll put it on my computer and show it." Well, there was just a couple of times where that didn't work out so well. Either the person didn't have the right version of Office, or otherwise things just didn't quite work right. The USB stick, for some reason, wasn't reading. All these dumb things happened with a couple of times. So from then on, I said, okay, forget it. I'm always going to use my computer. All right? It's just going to be an RGB cable that I typically plug into an overhead. The point here is, you should know and understand your equipment perfectly and try to have it as your own equipment. Don't rely so much on other people's equipment if you're going to another location for a presentation. Be in control of that. There's nothing, well, I shouldn't say there's nothing worse. It's really bad, it's really hard on you to give a presentation when you don't have the proper visual aids, especially if it's vital to your presentation. So my point is, make sure that you're in control of your equipment. Not only that you know it, but have it as your own and be in control of it. I used to be with one guy that used to bring an extra projector, right? But hey, what the heck, we never had to worry. Extra projector, didn't weigh that much, no problem though. Yep.
Brad, a question. What you presented on presentations?
Yeah, so I used to work, so what I used to work with is high-end software for manufacturing processes, okay? So what would happen is if you're building a cell phone, like for instance, I work with Sony Ericsson, not many people buy those phones these days, but they used to be very popular. I used to work with them on their process, on how exactly to trace all of the components, the people that were working on the shop floor, all the different stuff in the manufacturing process. It was a really, really boring job, actually. And then also what I used to do is I'd work with AMD, Philips, and a few other companies, just doing that. I did that for, 8 years, and then worked with another company doing that. So yeah, so always make sure everything's ready when you're doing that. What do you
sell
do?
Something from, you sell?
I worked all the way down from actually starting out as just a UI developer. Then I got into the hardcore programming. then I got into sales engineer, then I got into sales, and then I got into where I worked for 2 different companies as a director in Asia. That's why I'm in Asia. I never left. So, but yeah, we can talk about that some other time. But that's why I understand, you know, what it's like to be in these situations where you're giving presentations. Okay. You know?
What is flip chart?
Flip chart. So yeah, that's when you have like pieces of paper that you continue to flip over. Okay. Let me just show you one. All right. So it's not something that goes up. It's not computerized at all. Okay. So it's just a simple chart that you continue to flip like this, and you just flip the papers. Yeah, you just flip the papers over. These are good if you're doing a presentation where you need to write down ideas, build things as you're going along, and then save them for later, like this one here. Because you write down things, oh, okay, we're done with that idea, and then you flip it over, and then you continue on, because in that way you can keep that for later on. The advantage that this has over a whiteboard, okay, I think it has whiteboard on there. Okay, so the problem with the whiteboard is, you know, you have to continue to erase it, right? Okay, you write down the concepts and you have to erase it. Okay, did somebody save that? Okay, then you go on to another one. So the flip chart's nice. What's that?
Bret, for example, it depends on the time that you have to do the presentation related to the material. Do you know what I mean? If you have a lot of time, I can use a whiteboard, depends on, or slides, or, you know what I mean?
Yep. And you have to be careful if you're giving a presentation where you're doing Q&A, question and answer, where you're doing ideas, because, you know, that's harder to deal with than when you're just doing a presentation where you're giving information, right? Because then you can time yourself, everything else. All of a sudden you get somebody who goes off on a tangent, right? So a tangent is where you go off on a wild idea, an idea that doesn't you know, really go with what you're talking about, right? You have to pull them in, get them back on track, and make sure they don't take up all your time. Okay. So Shaki, how can I join from my iPad Mini? So Shaki, if you're doing the Hangout, just search for Hangout iPad app. Okay, just look for that, and there's one out there. I don't know if there's one for the Mini, but I assume it'll work for the Mini. It's just a difference in size. Okay. All right. So wow, 35mm slide projector. Holy Toledo. Yeah, guys, if you get into a situation where you're doing a 35mm slide projector, you're probably back in the 90s or something. Okay. So you don't worry about that. Okay. Anything else?
No.
No? Okay, good. Okay, so visual aids, all right? So this goes back to what we were talking about here, but let's continue on. So Manel, your microphone's having a little bit of problems, so I'm going to skip you if you don't mind, okay? I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to skip you. There's a little bit of sound coming from you. No problem. Nang. Hello, Nang.
Hello?
Hi, Nang. Can you read number 4 for me, please?
Okay. And Visual 8. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And there are many types of Visual 8: photograph, graph, pie chart, map, TVS, real symbol, etc. But you should use Visual 8 with care and do not overload your audience with too much information in a short time. A good rule is use one image to give one message. Do not try to give two messages with one image.
Okay, good. So okay, so let's just take a look at some of these, okay? The picture's worth 1,000 words. That's why it's better to just show stuff when you all are asking about things. So okay, so one of the things in here, what, pie chart, graphs, maps, yep, okay. So let's look at a pie chart.
We know what is it.
No problem. Yep.
In Excel.
Yeah, so here's a pie chart that you made through Excel. You can tell this one looks just like it's from Excel, right? So make sure again that when you're showing things like this that you are just trying to deliver one message per image is what they're saying, okay? Make sure that you're not trying to convey more than one message, making it more complex. Keep it simple, okay, is what they're trying to say with that. And then let's see here. Yeah, tables. Yeah, and then just common graphs, right? Okay, so you can have bar graphs and so forth, and different line graphs. Just be careful. Make sure that it's not so much of an information overload.
Diagrams, histograms.
Yep, yep. Diagrams, histograms, right? Okay. All right. So good. So has anybody here had to give a presentation? Okay, Manel. Take care, Manel. Has anybody here had to give a presentation? Okay. What sort of, did you use some visual aids?
Yeah. Presentation graphs.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What was your presentation on?
It was on a study on linguistics, dialect leveling. So I study when some girls move to another area, they change their dialects. And it showed the data in the shape of graphs.
Okay, all right. And did you find that having those graphs and having those visual aids, doesn't it also help you stay on track with your presentation?
Yeah.
So that's another thing that visual aids will do, especially a good PowerPoint presentation. It'll keep you staying on track with what you're trying to discuss without having to look down at your notes all the time. Anybody else given a presentation where they've used visual aids?
When I studied at the university, I made the presentation in PowerPoint for diploma, for my diploma, and for articles about what I'm studied. And also when I worked in a company that makes software programs, I presented in a laptop.
Okay. And did you make the software programs, or were you?
No, I only presented and convinced client to sign with us a contract. And after that, I work with this customer and.
Okay, got it. So you know what it's like to be in a technical presentation, then. So you had to do that as well. Servet, what was that?
Yeah, I didn't do a professional thing, but I started teaching Turkish. I prepare some slides, some presentations, and I teach by using this. I use pictures or similar things.
Yep. Okay, got it. So good. So you're learning as you go, and as you continue. So what are you using for the to make the presentations? Are you using OpenOffice Impress, or are you using PowerPoint, or what are you using?
I use LibreOffice Impress. It's a kind of another version of OpenOffice, just a fork.
Are you on Ubuntu or Linux or something?
No, on Windows. It works on Windows also as well.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, because I have folks that we work on Ubuntu, and that Impress is just super fast on Ubuntu. So okay, so good.
Hello?
Good. Yeah, hey Daniel, you're back. Good. So, everybody missed you. We're wondering, hey, where's that guy from Spain? He's not here. So okay. So as this talks about, don't overload them too with too much information in a short time. Some people, they'll give presentations and they'll just keep blasting them with one slide after another, just moving on. Don't do that, okay? Talk to the slide, meaning as the slide's up, talk about it, show the information on there. but don't have your whole presentation where it's driven by these slides and it's just shoving down so much information. Be a good speaker. Use the images not as the centerpiece. Your speaking should be the centerpiece, but use the images to guide them along. Okay? All right. And let's see here. Servette number 5, please.
Okay. Signposting. When you read a book, you know where you are. You know the title of the book, the subject, the chapter, the end of the chapter, and the beginning of another, the section, and even the page of even the page number. But when you give a presentation, your audience does not know where they are unless you tell them. You can use special language called signaling or signposting that helps your audience know where they are. Here are a few examples. Let's begin by. That's all I have to say about. Now we'll move on to. Let's consider this in more detail. I'd like to deal with this question later, if I may. I'd like now to recap. To start with, later, to finish up.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was just writing here to Hazem, make sure he understands how to use that. Okay, so in here, signaling, right, or signposting, what this is guiding your audience along. So maybe you have a figure up there, and maybe you're talking about sales for the month of December and just how terrible they were and so forth. Okay, and then once you get done with that, once that concept is done, once the discussion is done and that point's been made, then you'll say things like, okay, now we'll move on to, and then go to the next one. So what you do is you signal the audience, okay, we're done talking about that. Another good one in here is when you start to talk about a general idea in your presentation. And then as you go through the presentation, you start to think of smaller details. Let's consider this in more detail. You also might be bullet pointing things out, where maybe you have a presentation and there's 3 main subjects. As you go through those subjects, it's good for you to say, okay, well, this is point number 1 of the presentation. Boom, 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 boom. Finish up there. This is point number 2, okay? And then this is point number 3 as you go along. So they know exactly where you're at in the presentation, okay? All right, and then this is, these I'd like to now recap. This can be in those sections. This can be used also when you're making a point and you want to make sure that they understand, all right? And then to finish up, that's just when you're finishing up an idea or the presentation. Anyone else?
Bret.
Yes.
And if you're summarizing, imagine that I have finished my presentation. Could I have to say I'd like now to recap for the whole thing, or this is not properly?
Yeah, no. Now I'm going to recap what we've talked about, okay? And you can also signal them that your presentation is nearing. It's getting close to an end. You can say, okay, well, my presentation is almost finished. Now what I'd like to do is just go through some of the main points again. Okay. Right. And then, the important thing here is it's just like a traffic light, right? You want to know when it's green, when you can go, when it's red, you can stop, when it's yellow. But this obviously is in more detail. Okay. Anyone else?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So, Servette, let me ask you. Servette, so at the end of your classes, and pardon me for not having enough time to attend those,
yep.
even though you attend mine, I feel like a jerk, huh? But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Do you at the end of your class, do you do like a little recap on what you've learned for the day? What do you do with yours?
Usually I teach the core class. Then at the end of the class, I let them to have dialogue. I put all phrases on the screen, and I say they are looking at the screen, and they are trying to have their own dialogue.
Okay, got it. All right. Anybody else? Different things that they've used in presentations, you know, when it comes to these signal words. How about you, So? Do these look like familiar words that you used during your presentation? Obviously, well, not obviously, but maybe in a different language?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Anyone else? Anything on this topic? No? Okay. Okay, good. Now let's move on to the next one, right? So there you go. There's a signal word. Hey, Hisham. Okay, I think it's still loading for him. Shocky. Hey, Shocky. Hey, Shocky, is your microphone working?
Hello?
You can type. Hey, how are you, Shocky?
I'm fine, thanks.
Good, good, good. Shocky, can you read number 6 for us? Okay. And what we're doing is we're just talking about the main points when it comes to giving presentations and speaking in English. Go ahead.
Okay. You need a warm and friendly relation with your audience. How do you achieve this? Well, enthusiasm is contagious. If you're enthusiastic, your audience will be enthusiastic too. Try to make eye contact with each member of your audience. Each person should feel that you're speaking to him or her personally. Okay, good, good. Yep. Hey, Shocky, do you have a Do you have a extra? I'm gonna mute you real quick. You might have a second Verbling window open, okay? Because I can hear myself in the background. So just go and see if there's another Verbling tab that's open. Just make sure that's closed if that's the case. Okay, so good. So rapport with the audience. All right. You know, it says here to make eye contact with every single member of your audience. Well, that's not always easy to do, right? If you're speaking with a large audience. But just make sure that what you don't do is that you don't just like hone in. What I mean by is just, you know, just one person, continue looking at them, okay? When you get nervous during a presentation, you might do that. Just keep in mind not to do that. Make sure that you're looking from left to right and right to left as you continue to pan through the audience, okay? And don't be scared about looking at your audience and looking them in the eye. That builds that sort of relationship and trust. What's that?
So, Bret, can we establish that rapport is a synonym of empathy or something kind of empathy?
No, rapport is not empathy. Empathy is where you're caring for another person, where you're really understanding what they're going through, okay? And then sympathy, you know, this is just where you're building a relationship. Think of rapport as a relationship, okay? And also credibility is another way as well. Trust. Okay. It's all part of rapport, okay? Right.
Trust.
So like Igor. So Igor.
Yes.
When you were selling to your audience, you had to build a very good rapport with them, correct?
But not to audience, to one or two people. I used to sell. I come to director and vice director from that company because our products was for small companies from here, and I come and sell.
Yep. Just so you know, in this series, when I talk about audience in general, even when I'm doing writing classes, it could be one person, two people, and audience is whoever's listening. Okay. So no, it's okay. Just so you know, I'm using it generically, right? You know, well, actually, I'm just using it as it is. So that can be one person, two person, or whatever. But
yes, I talk to them very friendly and very try to convince them to sign with us contract.
Okay, you sound like a tough sales guy.
Yes, of course. I like that job. I go and sell. How much I can.
Yeah. Sales is a fun profession. So okay, good. So let's get into the next one here, which is body language. Okay, and Shocky, I'm gonna mute you. Okay, just because a little bit of sound. Everybody, make sure that you stay muted when you're not speaking, so we don't have any extra sound. Okay, so I don't want you to be muted because I want you to read number 7 for me. Okay?
Okay. Body language. What you do not say can be more important than what you say. Your body is speaking to your audience even before you open your mouth. Your clothes, your walk, your glasses, your haircut, your expressions. It's from.
It is.
It is from this that your listeners form their first impression as you enter the room.
Okay, good. Also, too, one thing that is not understood, or that isn't said in here, I mean, it talks about your clothes, but don't overdress, okay? All right, just make sure you don't overdress as well. I mean, that can be in a negative, because then, anyway, that just can be in a negative, because then it seems like you're talking down, and it's harder for you to build rapport. If you're going in to talk to, like, for instance, a bunch of shop floor workers, and you come in your best suit, and it looks like you have a lot of money and things like that, they're just not going to receive you as well. It doesn't mean that you have to dress like them, but just don't dress so far above them that they can't relate to you, okay? All right? And also, too, your body language. You know, if you cross your arms, okay? So you all know if you cross your arms, right? So if you do this, right? If you're talking like this, okay, then that means you're not open, right? You're not open to them. And also, too, if you're just in a meeting and you're doing this, just try not to do that. Try not to ever do that unless you want to give the impression to somebody that, you know, that you're in a power position. I think I don't even want to get into that. Don't get into that too much. That's just if you have like employees or something, they've done something wrong. Sometimes it is good to not be open. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to add that when you make this presentation, you should look at the body language of people who is in front of you.
Yep, absolutely. Especially like you're saying, when you're in a sales environment and you're speaking to just a small group of people, you can see if they're interested. You can see if you're losing their interest. If they start pulling out their phones. You know, and start playing around with them, you know, taking emails. If they open up their computers, you know you're losing their attention, right?
It is very important to look at their body language, how they look at you, if they arms, how all of this kind.
Yep. And by the way,
hey, Bret.
Yes. Hey, Hisham. Hey, how are you?
I'm back. I was too late. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I see you coming in and out, so no problem. So yes. So we're just
everyone.
Yep. Everybody's happy to see you here, Hisham. So good. So we're just talking here about 7 main things. This is just a high-level overview about presentations, and right now we're talking about body language. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Wow, I've never seen like your glasses. I wonder if you're wearing like sunglasses or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, don't wear sunglasses to a presentation. So let's see here. Anything else with this as far as, you know, the clothes you wear? Anybody have any questions about this?
You know what happened to me one time, Bret? When I was giving a presentation to my colleagues, I was having a problem with the jacket, because it wasn't very well closed, you know? And all the people was attended to my jacket instead of what I was saying, you know?
Yep, that can happen. So
that's why I agree with that kind of thing. You have to wear clothes very simple, and that doesn't give you problems.
Yep, yeah, and you make a good point to where you know, your clothes, then it's a prop, right? You know, a prop. That brings attention to it. You want to make sure that's right. I'll tell you one thing that happened to me. The first trip I did to Japan, I was there for 9 days or something like that, and I had to teach these folks how to sell our software, because Japan's a very closed environment, good people, but it's closed, meaning they only sell to themselves, really, unless you can speak fluent Japanese. But even then, it's kind of closed. But anyway, let me get to the point. I didn't understand their culture that much or enough. And what happened was, at the end of the trip, they came out and they gave me a jacket. They gave me a sports jacket because I'm used to the U.S. where, you know, we'll just come in, we'll wear a tie and, you know, nice shirt. But they gave me a jacket. They gave me a jacket, and they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for, you know, teaching us and everything else. Here's this gift to you." But they were also telling me, "Hey, you have to make sure that you have a jacket when you're here in Japan. You know, it's customary. You know, they always wear clothes like that." So good. So Abdel, hello Abdel. Hi Abdel.
Hello.
Okay. Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Yep, welcome. So Nang, you have a question here in the chat. What is the most important on 1 to 7, right?
Yes.
Yep, no, it's a very good question. The most important thing, this one right here. It is not number 1 is number 1. Okay.
Number 1, yes.
Yep. If you fail to prepare, then you're probably gonna fail. Okay. So
Okay.
you have to just make sure that you continue going through again and again. You'll get to the point where, you know, you feel like you're being repetitive. You know, and you're like, "Oh, do I really need to go over it one more time?" And then once you give that presentation, depending upon how many people are around you, depending on the situation, you can just like almost like black out, you know, when you're giving a presentation. Because, you know, you might be nervous, something might happen, maybe your visual aids mess up, maybe somebody asks you a question that is just so far out there and so hard to answer at that point that it just leads to to going off track. That's when you're going to be really glad that you prepared for it, because you'll be able to pull yourself back in. The presentation is second nature. You can do it in your sleep. Okay? And like it says here, this will give you control. That's one of the most important things when you're giving a presentation. You want to make sure that you're in control. Now, when you build up rapport with your audience, okay? All right, in here, well, where's the rapport? Oh, yeah, here. Okay, wow. So when you build up rapport with your audience, keep in mind, though, you're the presenter, though, all right? So you got to watch body language like here. Am I making you tired, Daniel? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding around with you. But no, but that would be like Igor's talking about, where you have to watch your audience. And I know you're just waking up. I'm just kidding. And I'm a little monotone. But back, yeah, no problem. I'm just kidding around. And I'm just trying to build up some rapport too, right? But anyway, the audience rapport. Make sure though that you understand that you still have to be the one in charge. You're the one doing the presentation, so there should be a difference, at least at that moment, on how you're seen compared to how the people in the audience are seen. You want to be friendly, but you want to be the one who's in charge. Okay? So, all right, so when we talk about timing, actually I didn't fill enough time, but that's okay. Let's answer some questions, okay? What was that, Johnny? Did you have a question?
No, Bret.
Okay. So, now it's the Q&A part. So question and answer. So any questions? We actually have some extra time. Does anybody want to look at a presentation? Does anybody, any questions about these 7?
No.
I have a question. If you don't see the audiences, like now, how would you observe them? Are they still paying attention? Are they, or did they get bored, or how would you take maybe?
Yeah,
this kind of thing.
So just don't even be worried about that. No, I'm kidding, Servet. That's a good question. So I'm just kidding. That would be a very narcissistic attitude, just to not worry about what your audience is. Well, what you have to do in those sort of situations, you have to continue to ask them questions. You know, to see, hey, are there any questions, different things like that. If you can get them involved in the presentation somehow, you know. Yeah. I mean, just similar like to this class where I try to ask, hey, is anybody giving a presentation, you know? And also, too, if you're going to be a speaker, you have to be really genuine, okay? I mean, even Igor could tell you, he's trying to sell something, but you have to be genuine when you're doing it, okay? I mean, people are just too smart these days. especially if you're selling to people that are like in their late 30s and 40s and stuff like that, because by then you become attuned to when somebody's feeding you a line when they're not sincere and so forth. So my point is, sort of, as you're giving that, if you're not sincere and you don't really care about what you're presenting and you don't have that enthusiasm, you're going to lose them. But as far as what you're asking for, like taking a temperature, you just have to continue to ask them.
Okay.
So Bret, I have a question. What do you think about handing out some leaflets or another material to the audience? Do you think it is positive or not?
So it's good, but just make sure it's not distracting.
All right.
Okay. Yep. So that's the thing, though. You want to make sure that it's not distracting.
They should be short text.
What's that?
Or images. I mean, it can be a short text or images or something, not very long.
Yeah, not very long. Not very long at all. So yeah.
I have a question. You said you gave lots of presentation. What kind of problems should we face in presentation? What kind of things may happen? Because,
yeah. One of the big things is just make sure your equipment is working properly. Okay, that's one of the things that can go wrong. Also, too, if you're doing things in a conference, they might change the time when you're supposed to be on and supposed to be speaking. You might also change it from an hour-long presentation to where somebody ran over on time, and all of a sudden you're doing a 45-minute presentation. So somebody before you was supposed to give an hour presentation, and then they ran over on time. But the people who are running it, I mean, there's just those are some of the main things that can happen. All right. Also, too, whatever you do, and I understand some of you, if you do get into sales, okay, and you're traveling around a lot, be careful of the night before you're giving a presentation. If you go out and you party a little too much, it seems like fun, especially when you go to some of these conferences. You stay in these nice resorts and everything else. Unlimited food, unlimited drinks. But man, I saw one guy I felt so bad for him too. He was the first speaker of the day. He was white as I guess I'm laughing, so I can't really feel that bad for him. But he was white as a ghost. Okay, absolutely white as a ghost, because he was partying too much the night before and just completely blew his presentation. And I don't know why. I guess I don't feel that bad for him if I'm laughing. But it was just amazing. I was like, oh my gosh. What was he thinking? I saw him the night before. So make sure as well that you get plenty of sleep the night before. Okay, don't overindulge, especially if you're in a situation where indulgence is part of the whole rapport that week or for a few days, like in conferences. So yeah, I can't think. Yeah, and also too, if you're doing Q&A, you have to be really careful. Okay, you have to be extremely careful about somebody asking a question that doesn't make sense, that doesn't fit in with what you're talking about. And sometimes people are just asking questions so that their peers, okay, don't think that, or pardon me, so their peers think that they're understanding. Some questions people ask you, and I'll tell you what, Igor can probably tell you this as well. Especially when you're in sales, people will ask you questions that it has nothing to do. Has little to do with what you're trying to sell. It has little importance, right? And you have to be careful. Yep, you've seen that, right, Igor? And you're like, what kind of question is this? It makes no sense. Does it matter if it's blue or if it's red? No. Okay, and you have to go on. All right, so anyway, those are the things I can think of, when it comes to presentations. All right, so
let's say you are in presentation, you want to tell something, but in the middle of the presentation, you made your preparation, but you think they are not interested in this. You think they won't buy this. Things are not going well. How would you change the situation to make them interested? Or
yeah, I mean that's the persuasion. That's when you have to start to figure out. And Igor can tell you about it too. What you need to find out is the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's called FUD.
What do you think about improvisation, Brett? Improvisation is bad thing. It's negative. If you have to improvise, means that you haven't prepared.
Yeah, that's why you want to make sure you know your presentation really well, because there's times where you do have to improvise, so you go off a little bit, but then you want to flip right back into your presentation. You know what I'm saying? There will be times where you have to ask questions, kind of improvise, but yeah, you don't want to make that the main focal part of your presentation is improvising.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to happen, you know, or it might happen, where you do have to, you know, improvise, come up with some new things, but that's why you want to know your core presentation really well so you can bring it back, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and here, so hey everybody.